dear party people. Welcome to Senior Cats, the Bear Bold. My name is Buddy, and I'm your host for tonight's conversation. Our guest tonight is a Montclair State University alum from the class of 2023. He has been making films since high school under the prestigious professor James Arndt. In the past year, his life has completely changed as he has dedicated his creative energy under making his new debut film, Blasphemy. The trailer was only released hours ago, and it has been all of the buzz. I welcome my dear friend, Zack Krasnansky.
Thank you for having me.
It's wonderful for you to be here. It's an honor. Thank you for your patience.
Of course.
I think I'm going to do this for anybody. Let's go straight to the beginning. When, how, why did you find Professor Arndt in high school? And do you remember the liftoff moment of realization that you knew you wanted to be a filmmaker? But definitely start with Arndt.
Yeah, well, it starts with Arndt. I always liked movies. They were my favorite thing growing up. I specifically remember when I don't know how old I was, but I do know it was 2005. I saw Harry Potter 3, and that was like when the first year I started going to the movies, and I believe that was the first movie I've seen in theaters. And I was transfixed, and I always was begging my parents, "Can we go to movies? Can we go to movies?" So I just loved them. And I I stupidly did not connect that that's what I wanted to do until I met Mr. Arndt. I believe it was my senior year of class. I took it with Bober the year before. And Bober very, very dryly introduced you to film and the editing. And I remember cutting a guy walking up to a door and then a close-up of the door knob and getting it to match perfectly. And I kind of was like, oh, I don't know. I just got like this bug from it. So it really made me want to go into film too. And then the first day of meeting Mr. Arndt, he showed 4 films. It was Inglourious Basterds opening, Pulp Fiction opening, Reservoir Dogs. I believe it was the car scene right after the title sequence. And then he showed Grand Budapest Hotel. Really weird picks. But I've never seen any of those movies before. And I liked them so much, I asked, can I take his DVDs home to watch them? He gave me the DVDs. I went home and I watched them. Next day in class, he shows Goodfellas, which I have never seen before, but that as well. Taxi Driver, American History X, and Raging Bull. And I took all 4 of those home, and I stayed up to 3 a.m. watching all those. And then rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. By the end of the year, I had the terrifying realization. I'm like, oh, shit, I really want to do this. I really like this. And I spent so long on that stupid high school project film that I was like, I knew I wanted to go to school for it. And I always was told you can't be an art major. You can't be an art major. You're not going to make it anywhere, especially by the people around me. But my parents were extremely supportive, and Nicole was. And that really made me go, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I told Arndt that, and he really spearheaded me into the career. It was him, the infectious love that he had, and he just preached it, and no one around us would listen. And I was the only one fully engaged in, and I always was like looking forward to that day when I could just sit down and go back to Arndt. And when I do, I go visit him almost every year I can. I just like that room, the smell, the patchouli.
Oh, that room smell.
Instantly, like, I think like back to me falling in love with film, and that's it. Just instant.
He has a way of just, God, maybe it's just film itself that's so infectious, but he has a way of introducing it to you and allowing you to figure things out for yourself and just giving you the position of just...
He gives you enough.
Yeah, just enough.
Where if you like it, you'll understand
you'll
it.
Take it. You'll take the reins and like.
I think he's totally responsible for my movie taste too. Like 110%.
Easily.
Every single poster in that room.
Oh my God.
I own.
What's so great is just like, and what's crazy is that you come to school, and some people don't have it as good as we did. Like some people had like just like the idea of like film, because like I think a lot of people had like classes in high school that were like TV broadcast, where like they did like the morning announcements, or they like covered sports at their school. And I guess we were really lucky to have a film program in our high school, so that when we came to the next step of our lives, whatever that is, whether it's college or outside of college and straight into your career, that we had like a leg up. At least it felt like it, because we were shown a broad array of films. And I want to talk to you about someone who, of course, Nicole is very important in your life. You are, congratulations on
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Your marriage. Who is Tommy Coffey, and why is he such an important figure in your life?
Okay. That's a good question. Tom, I met him in 7th grade, first day of school. He just moved to New Jersey. And I was playing on the computer in the library. I looked up Fallout 3 gameplay, and he walked right up to me. He goes, "I love Fallout." And we're just like, I don't know, we were just friends instantly. And throughout growing up, our friendship was like on and off. But for some reason, when we went to college, he was going for, we're in community college. He went to Brandeis, I think it was, and I went to RV. But we randomly met up again. My car broke down, and I had no one to pick me up from RV. And Nicole was getting pizza in Hillsborough. I ran into Tommy and asked, "Oh my, can you pick Zach up?" And he picked me up, and we went and saw it. And started hanging out every night again and catching up. And then I think from there on out, I mean, like, I have a group. It's my best friend Max and my best friend Tom. And I mean, we hang out, the three of us, all the time. But Tom is the only one who pursued film with me. And in my town, a friend I could talk to that was on the same path. And I think it was that really connected us. And I mean, our tastes are completely different. Like, he thinks Videodrome's like the best movie ever made. And I'm like, I wish I was making like Pirates of the Caribbean. So like, two different paths, but the mutual love of the craft. And we always support each other and push off each other. I think it's like the best thing. He always comes on my sets and I always on his sets, and we push each other and make each other better, and we challenge each other, which is like, in my opinion, like the most valuable relationship you could have, especially if like we don't think the same. It pushes us as an artist, and I love that.
I wholeheartedly agree with that, because I was working with Calvin, who was director of photography for Call Me Dallas, and then I was working with Boone for another movie, and I think I know I can trust them the moment they start arguing with me. Because truly, because it means they have an opinion, and it means they have a space for an opinion. And I think that's like one of the most, like, if anyone's arguing with me on set, and obviously everyone hears anything on set.
They're passionate about
exactly.
it.
So if you feel like you have a voice and feel like it's important enough to challenge whatever it is I'm saying, because technically you and I on set as directors, we have the final say. So we could disagree completely on whatever they're saying, and technically our final say goes. And so if anybody on set is saying something to us where they feel like maybe it's not just something that they're right about, but maybe they have an opinion about something, I think it's one of the most important things, not only because it shows the collaboration, and it also shows that there's some trust, there's some honesty involved. And I love that. Like, they both started arguing with me, and I'm not saying like a full on argument. No, it's just something.
Drew and me
tiny,
will do the same thing. Yeah,
something tiny, like it's like I'm so happy. I'm like, thank
like that.
God, like someone is saying something.
Exactly. I hate yes men.
Yes,
I can't do it because I need people just to push me in different directions a little bit, or make me go, no, I'm doing this, and make me more confident in what I'm doing. If that makes sense. Like Drew. In particular, he's a very creative. Our relationship's insane. I mean, we like the same thing, but we also do stuff very drastically within the same element. So we will push each other back and forth sometimes, and it always brings the best results.
True.
Period. Yeah. And I love that about him, because like we have that, and Tom does as well. Like all my friendships, especially with my crew, Everyone gives me, like, if they have to say something, they're going to say it. And I appreciate that because, I'm not always right. And I know you're not as directors. Sometimes someone might have a better idea on the spot and you got to just be okay with changing that.
Also, for whoever joins us, if I ever say Calvin Klein or if Zach ever says Drew Collins, it is the same person. It's very weird for me to call Drew. I call him Calvin. So moving on from high school, I think you went to RV for a very brief time. I went there for, I think, a year. Yeah. I don't know how long you were there for.
I think I was there. I don't remember, to be honest, because I got screwed over in transfer. So like they added like a year and a half of credits onto my school, which made me not care about college really. Because I kept getting frustrated with college, especially RV, because their film program was a mess.
I know. And you know what's so frustrating? The moment I left, supposedly, it got good. Which great. Like, I'm happy for anybody that came, but it was just like...
Yeah, it was a mess. There was a professor there. I forgot his last name. He fortunately passed away, but I really liked him because he...
It's not the film history professor,
No,
right?
It was... Professor Harry something. I forgot his last name, but he made me memorize exposures because his test was so freaking hard. That was great. That was the only good thing that came out of RV. Everything else was just like studying religiously to myself. But yeah.
My philosophy class, not that it was a film class, showed me Ex Machina for the first time. That was sick.
I will say, I saw Can You Find It in Your Heart? No, Can You Find Your Heart? Oh my God, that's Tom's film. It happened one night.
Oh, I still have to watch that.
It is one of my favorite films of all time. Actually, big influence on Blasphemy.
I literally just got it from the Montclair Public Library. So I'm planning on watching Criterion.
I saw that in the film history class, and I was like, whoa, because I never would have watched it any other way. I believe it's the first rom-com. It also
I think you told me that.
Is the first triple threat in Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Lead Actor. Wow. That's not triple threat, but I forgot what that was called. Great film. When I was in high school, I just left high school, I think, onto set. Met John Caccamo, Zach Miller on that set.
That's so funny. John Caccamo was
2017. I met them, and I kept getting invited onto their sets, and so I was just kind of infused into the Montclair ecosystem, and then I stopped going on sets to go, I want to be a director, and I want to try to focus on a feature, and so I ended up making a feature with the short with those guys in 2020 through all the COVID stuff. And so, like, I was kind of drawn to Montclair because of them. Emma Swider was another alum, Hillsborough as well.
Were any of those people from Hillsborough too?
John and Zach, no. I just met them on the set that I was invited to, and so I just kind of got bled into it. I don't know where I would have ended up if I didn't. I still suspect Montclair because I was just so many people that went there from where I was. So it just kind of, I got a lot of people telling me to go there. So.
Was it a good decision that you came to MSU?
Oh, yes. For the biggest reason is all my friends and all the people I met.
That's what I keep hearing. That's literally what I keep hearing.
That is, in my personal opinion, the only reason. Everyone I met are still a big part of my life. So, I mean, you can't trade that for the world. I would be working with completely different people if I didn't go here. So, and my films wouldn't be the same. And me as a director, I don't think would be the same because I didn't go through the experience of going through here. And like, for example, I would never have met Drew. So Blasphemy is like our baby. We would never have made that. So it's very important, the friendships.
Any advice to those who are new to the MSU filmmaking program?
Your teacher is not always right. I think that's the best because everyone in film does things their own way. You wouldn't tell someone to paint a certain way because you paint a certain way. We're all individually our own artists. So it's really hard when film is very structured like math. Like, oh, there's only one way to solve a problem.
Yeah.
That's how the education's structured, and it's not. There's a million means to an end. So I think that you should just follow your gut and explore that, because that's what's going to make you most unique and stand out. And also, it's going to be that's why you're doing it. I mean, you're doing it. It's an expression. We're all artists. Film is a form of expression. So when someone says your expression is wrong, if it's not something technical, like obviously if the frame's off, I'd say follow your gut first and foremost.
Yeah, I think I was having a conversation with someone a while ago where it's like, it's a little difficult to teach an art or filmmaking because the technical parts, I feel like are the easiest things to teach, you know, whatever department you can even talk about. Very easy to teach it. Not saying that it's easy to comprehend, but it's way easier to get into the objective world of film when it comes to the technicality of it. But when it comes to the subjectiveness of it, it's really, really difficult to really teach that or do anything about that, because I feel like as a professor, you want to push your students.
Yeah.
But also it's like, where do you draw the line of this is wrong and this is right? Because yeah, it's just difficult. I don't know what is
I
the
don't know
most
what the
right
answer
way.
is. Yeah. I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that the answer should come from what makes you unique. I think like each student we all shouldn't be like, I like example, in Lowenthal's class, we have to edit down Chinatown to 20 minutes. I edited it down to like 12 minutes and it worked, but he gave me a C and said, make it 20 and I'll fix it. I'm like, but I made it, your whole point of the assignment was to shorten it and still tell the story. And I did. But because it wasn't on your critique, see, you know, that's school. And I hate that because it destroyed my creativity. I took the extra step to try, what if I can make it smaller? And I got squandered for that. So like it kills your creativity in a sense. But then again, like what is the right way? I don't know.
I love that assignment.
That was fun.
I love that assignment.
I spent the extra time on it because it was great until he fell asleep, but it was still great.
Wild, dude. They're playing Chinatown in 35 millimeter in the city. You should try to go when. That's a great question.
I would love to see that.
I think it's the 12th or something like that, or the 13th of December. But I am for sure.
I might go.
That. Yeah. Your favorite class, if you have one.
This is a hard question. I don't think I have one, but I have to technically. So, okay. It was, I think it was screenwriting 3. And that's because that was when I checked out. I don't know. I believe it was 2022, early 2022 or late 2021. I just checked out. I realized like I just wasn't getting what I wanted from my classes. And so I decided to take my education upon myself. And I just really I sat down and I studied the crap out of screenwriting. I must have, 2022, I know for a fact I watched a movie every night with a screenplay in hand, except for like a week maybe. I was on vacation. And that, I learned so much. Then in screenwriting 3, everything I learned, I started challenging the professor with. I would put in my screenplay, and the most obscure technique possible of writing a story, and he would yell at me for it because it wasn't structured enough. And I'm like, okay, but there's a lot of successful artists who have used this technique. So I learned that you can kind of carve your own path. And I spent most of my time in class just sitting down, studying screenplays and just writing and writing and writing and writing. And this doesn't have to be everything I get. I can get more by myself. And having that realization, that was probably why it's my favorite class, because that class made me realize that.
Copy. Yeah, no, I mean, I think one of the probably advice for anybody that goes to film school really just is into film and want to do something creatively in film.
You should go to film schools just to meet people who are doing the same thing.
But also take it upon yourself to learn. Like the class is not going to teach you everything. You have to take it upon yourself to go about learning whatever it is. Like I think it's very interesting. A very common thing is like whenever you're with like the electric team, and there's just talking about lights and lights and lights and lights that haven't even come out yet, and like potential lights. And it's just because they're just keeping themselves updated about what lights are coming out, and they're keeping, and it's just as easy as just internet search of just what lights are out there, the technical specs of them and everything. And that goes for
every form of film.
Like just every department.
There's no excuses now, especially with the internet. I mean, there's like so many breakdowns of scripts, lighting techniques, acting techniques. My favorite thing is just listening to for directing, I listen to a lot of other directors just talk, or I will, if I could find like the behind the scenes, I'll just study them directing. My favorite one, David Fincher directing The Social Network.
Yeah, that's
I watched that one.
It's a great one.
A lot. And because I just like seeing the process, and really a director is just like controlling as many people as possible and just nudging them. Letting them do their thing creatively, but nudging them in good direction. And that nudge has to point everything to one spot. That's so hard. And it's hard to teach that. So I learned a lot of that from just doing it, and then analyzing what went wrong or what I could do better always. And then also just watching other people direct. I learned a lot on MSU sets, just like watching people direct. And even if they were successful or things were going horribly wrong, I could just learn from that. That was a big tool. And then just watching like, how can the grips be more efficient? How can we organize things more? What is not the director not getting across to his crew or the cast? That's super important.
That's a big thing in college sets, that like try your best to get into every department.
Oh yeah,
and feel the frustration of what it's like to be in every department, so that when you are able to take control of the higher up before it comes down on them, that you can you have some,
you know what to do.
Exactly.
And also the biggest thing is appreciate that they're there and they're spending their time with you. I mean, on Nemesis, I did everything myself some days, and I would be like, man, I'd kill for a boom operator right now, because I have to operate camera and boom at the same time and not mess up the shot and not mess up the performance for the actor. So there's a lot of that stuff that it makes you appreciate everyone that's there for you. It's your vision. They're there for you. So you always got to appreciate that.
So even though it has never been released, you worked on a feature before Blasphemy. What were the biggest things that you learned that you immediately brought on to Blasphemy?
So that is a slight long answer I'm going to have. Yes, I decided to make a feature because I was frustrated with like just my education in general, not being able to do things on myself. So I figured, wow, if I was doing this every day for 2 weeks, I would learn a lot very quickly. And I did. And then I could see my growth as I was editing, and then realizing I need to reshoot because half of this is way better than the other half. Lighting, framing, the directing, the acting, everything about it was different, and it just wasn't congruent. So I had to go back. And then I realized, wait, now I have to reshoot this again because I just kept getting better. It pushed me, and it made me understand every single role. And like I said, value why people are there and what they are doing. And then it also taught me how to construct a pace, a story, because I just keep going back and fixing things. And I didn't have to rely on anyone because I had everything I needed. It was shot in my parents' house. I had the camera and I had 3 lights. And that was it. And so I would just have to construct everything around those restrictions, and also try to figure out how to tell a story that, to be very honest, was way out of my league to be even telling. I had VFX in it that I could not do. It had performances that were just way too complex, and I did not know how to handle that as a director at the time. So it was the best learning experience. I would say, in all honesty, that was my film school. I learned how to become a director through that experience. A lot went wrong, and that was the best thing about it, because I could sit there and go, this went wrong and this went wrong. So everything started, I just started adjusting myself every day. I shot, I would analyze what went wrong, what went right, and then just adjust myself for the next day. So it just gradually kept getting better and better. Come Blasphemy, I knew immediately how to jump into it and not mess anything up and keep everyone happy, because I knew what the crew needed through being in their positions. And I knew exactly what I needed to edit. I overshot some things in Nemesis, and then I undershot because I was by myself. So I couldn't do some of the things I naturally wanted to do. For example, camera movement is like my favorite thing. And Nemesis is a tripod movie because I didn't have anyone, and I couldn't afford a Dana. So I kind of went around and figured it out on my own. And it taught me, one, my style, my voice, what I like, and what I could do to articulate to everyone, the cast, the crew, and also writing. I mean, I was rewriting every day with the cast, and I learned how I like to direct and how I like to work with my actors. I don't like to just force them to say my lines and that's that. I really think that you hire them for a reason, that they're going to give you their performance, and you just want to nudge it in a direction or two. Maybe say a line a little less harsher, except you don't want to push them and just talk them off. You're bringing them on there the same reason I brought Drew on. Drew shoots just like I like to shoot. And so instantly I knew he's going to frame things exactly how I would frame them and surprise me. So I wanted to work with Drew, and I trust him in that process. And of course, we designed the whole film together. Just like the actors, I worked and catered the entire performance. But I learned to trust everyone through my experience in Nemesis, because I didn't trust everyone. And some reasons were very valid that I didn't trust everyone. And some reasons were valid that I did trust people in that. And it was a great process. Not releasing it because I feel like I don't need to. It was for me, in all honesty.
That's fine.
And it was the story itself. I mean, it was written way back in 2021, January. I started writing it. So, I mean, it's not who I was trying to discover myself as an artist and as a filmmaker. So it's not the type of movie I would make. Blasphemy is. So that was part of the process of trying to find what I want to be. Do I want to be more art house? Do I want to be more mainstream? How do I want to cater my style? And I think Blasphemy is the nail on the head. It's perfect. So that's what Nemesis did for that.
So I think you and I are perfect examples of polar opposite.
Oh, yeah,
examples.
100%.
And our approaches are neither right or wrong, but yet we feel they're right for ourselves. And for me, I've been taking my time. I even want to shoot another short. I don't feel like I want to jump into a feature yet. But then there's you who, even during college, like with Nemesis, you're trying to make a feature, and now you're jumping into this next feature. And is there a fire in you that is just pushing you in this way? Do you feel that time is running out, or are you trying to perfect your process or learn your process through this way that you're going about your expression? Me going a little slower. Sorry about that. Me going a little slower, and you just pushing right ahead and trying everything and anything to get it done.
I mean, it's kind of like snowboarding. You go all the way to the top of the hill and you bomb it. You fall a bunch of times or you kill it. And as soon as you get back down, you want to go right back up. I mean, I just like it. I really like the process. And I also really love learning. And I like every day on a set is like a completely different day. There's never a day where it's like different or similar. And it really like is exciting. I get to like figure things out more and go really far. And yes, there's a fire under my ass. Where that fire comes from, it's all me. I just like, I don't know why, but I need to be doing it. I need to be moving forward because it's not like I have something to prove to anyone other than myself that I can do it. But I really want it. I want to be able to just say I did that. And like, whether I die or whatever, there's a big part of me left. And it says so much about me, but people won't know that. And I love that. There's something just about it. And I want to be better, and I want to be like the people that inspired me. Like example, Spielberg is one of the biggest influences on me. I remember seeing photos of him outside the ET ride as a kid with him and ET. And I was like, all I could think about was like how they made that. It was just so interesting to me. I was always attracted to it, and I want to get to that point really badly. And I mean, I've always been sprinting at it, so there is an argument to say I should slow down.
Well, no, I mean,
but
I think it's whatever you feel is right. Like I'm
just ready.
I think it's not. I wish there was a better word, and maybe I should try to find it. But I think rushing or taking things slowly might not be the right words because I feel like there's a negative connotation towards it. But there's you and I are just going at different paces, and maybe that's just because we live different lives and we have different perspectives. And I think it's just interesting that you and I are. I think we're trying to achieve the same thing.
We are, yeah.
But it is on
our own ways.
Just completely different treadmills. And with that, because you've been working and doing this, and you said that one of the first films that you watched was in 2005. And I know this is a hard question, or maybe it's not.
In theaters. I've been watching. I remember one of my earliest memories was watching 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, The Little Mermaid, and the original Star Wars and Back to the Future trilogy. Those are just the movies my parents had.
Yeah.
And I loved Back to the Future in particular.
I'll never forget when my parents brought home the entire Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And the entire Indiana Jones, or the entire Lord of the Rings, and the entire Back to the Future. What is cinema to you? Or do you even believe in it?
I think it's just like an art form. It's just a form of expression and is an experience. So I mean, that's why I like movies so much. It's not like you're just like looking at something and just like taking in. You're experiencing the emotion of it, and you can just escape life. You just disappear into something else. And I think it's like the most addictive thing ever, as you very well know. I mean, you watch a lot of movies too, and I'm a heavy story person. I don't just watch movies. I love video games, narrative stuff. I love books as well. I'm always reading.
True.
And so I like the stories. I like living the lives that we can't live because we're here, and I can't. What if I want to be a pirate, or I want to,
so
experience something different?
The imagination, the experience of being in someone else's shoes is something that's important to you.
Yeah, like it doesn't even have to be like strictly like someone else's shoes. Just being in another world. Blade Runner. I love that movie, and I'm not as connected to Decker as I am to the world. I just like being there and then feeling it and just experiencing what it is, and that's probably my favorite part.
That's definitely what I feel like for the Grand Budapest Hotel. I, to be honest with you, I was talking to Nick about that too. That I love art that it's kind of hard. I love art that knows that it's its own world.
Yeah,
like I love how albums has an intro and a definite outro, and they know the art itself knows that it's starting, and the album and the art itself knows that it's leaving, like it's outroing, it's closing the gate. And I love when the Grand Budapest does that in the beginning when you're like entering the levels to get into the story. And then it does the complete opposite when getting out. And I love the melancholiness and the bittersweetness. And at the end of an art where it's saying we're going to leave now and that this world only exists here and you can only enter it by coming back.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's it hurts sometimes because the worlds are usually conflict based. There's usually a lot of conflict, and sometimes you wish you could just be there in peace. But then sometimes you would never have the movie. It would just be boring.
Exactly, yeah.
Or maybe not boring to some people. And I wish you could just be there and like there'd be no conflict. Everybody could be happy and you could just see how the world works. But that's just not why we're there. We're there because there's something wrong and we're trying to figure it out as an artist and an audience.
Yeah, my favorite thing about watching something that is good and it just sucks you in is when it ends. I'm a very emotional person. I very much wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm very, very sensitive. And I think that allows me to really enjoy a story because I get so attached and I feel the emotions of the characters so well, especially if it's done well. And like Lord of the Rings, as you very well know, will make me cry at the end every time. I mean, get so wrapped in.
The second ending is just
and it's when it ends and it lingers with you even after, and you're thinking about it, and you're thinking about it, and you're thinking about it. That's my favorite thing, and that's probably why I'm so hell bent on getting back into the ring essentially and making another film is because I want to make that experience for other people.
Well, what's crazy is that, and you definitely know this, is that sometimes you want to just make it for yourself.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
like you want to feel. I don't know if it's like an ego thing that it's like you want to create it for yourself. Maybe it's because you want to know that you can, but it is such an addicted, not an addicting, a beautiful feeling when you are in post and when you're editing and you create a cut or you create a moment and you're like, wow, I really enjoy this and I'm so happy that I'm able to do this. And it took this much and this many people and that much time and everything, but it led to like this one little thing. It could be the smallest cut, but it's magical. It hits.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like I had someone literally yesterday ask me like, "Oh, how long were you working on Blasphemy?" And I said, "Oh, well, technically 10 years since I started filming." Everything builds onto itself, and that feeling, chasing that feeling, and figuring out why it's happening and what makes it click, and being able to do it like very consciously now is like the best thing, because for that film, it's the first time I've ever made something where every single cut was like that. Every single cut from beginning to end. It was the first film I made where there was nothing that I was like you know how you cringe sometimes.
Of course, yeah.
It was the first time like I didn't nothing, and I've watched it so many times trying to find it, and I'm like, there's nothing that's making me cringe. It felt weird. But I know that's because I've been so hell-bent on like getting that feeling every time. And why am I getting that feeling? So just knowing that and being aware of it allowed me to construct it. And I think that has been the most useful thing about like just filming all the time and writing all the time and just preparing or studying it. I just love that. For that feeling in particular.
It's an absolutely infectious feeling. So it has been memed about, it has been, hell-bent about in our friend groups of how much you love The Lighthouse. We're talking about cinema and we're talking about, having a deep affection and an experience and being vulnerable. And I know you just watched it on IMAX last night. What is it about the film that you have such a deep connection to it?
I was thinking about this the whole screening last night because I've seen the movie a ton of times. It is by far, because most of the films I love are not like The Lighthouse.
Sure, it's so different.
Yeah.
How was it made? Like who greenlit it?
I had like a really weird connection to it. I was sitting on a beach reading Treasure Island, and the trailer came out, and my friend sent me the trailer. He goes, "Look at this! It looks right up your alley." And I watched the trailer, and I'm like, they're speaking like they do in this book. And then I find out later, of course, the dialect for Willem Dafoe's character was inspired from Treasure Island, and the character was as well. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And I just, that trailer was so interesting. I just loved the old timey sailor vibe. I don't know. So I was just attracted to it. And then when I saw the movie, I didn't know what to feel or think.
Yeah, no,
And so I went and saw it
that
again.
first watch is so weird.
And then I had a good time because at that time, Tom and his brother, Jimmy, worked at a theater. So, I mean, I went for a good 5-year span. I just didn't pay for tickets. I just went and saw a movie. So I saw everything. So I kept bringing people to the lighthouse. I'm like, come see this, come see this, come see this. Because it was fun. And I just got so into the movie. I think it's the performances and the way it's shot. Because it's done with such a intent and dedication to one thing. And then I could see Eggers' love and passion for all the things that inspired him in it. I could see Tall Tale Heart in there. I could see The Shining in there. It's like his little bubble of that. And I loved it. And I don't know why. I think it was the time and place. The time in my life, the time, where I was as a filmmaker at the time, I think I just really connected with it really weirdly. Because normally it's not the kind of movie I would make. I feel like you would make a Lighthouse. I wouldn't.
Before you?
Yeah.
You know what? You're right. That's so true. That's
I would never
true.
make a movie like that, to be honest with you. But like, I love it.
But sometimes it's like that. Like, I feel like, and to be honest with you, I do this too. That sometimes you hear someone say like some of their favorite movies, and you're like, "What are you talking about?" And literally, it's just because sometimes you watch a movie at the right place at the right time, and it just hits so hard. Like, I don't know why I'm craving the original, like the Transformers trilogy so bad with Shia LaBeouf.
That anamorphic, I don't saturated glare.
I don't know what it's about, but I know that it's like one of the first movies that I watched in theaters.
You're attached
and
to it.
I was just like, I loved it, and I really want to watch it again. And it's just one of those movies that I enjoy, and it's just because I loved it as a kid, and it brings that nostalgia.
Not everything has to be a 5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd to be enjoyable. Like I'm dead ass about that. I like a movie that is regarded as not that good, but I absolutely love Point Break, the original, Catherine Bigelow's. I love that movie. My dad showed me, and I'm like, this is cool. It's an FBI agent undercover of surfers. Like, I love it. It's just cool. I saw it young, so I got attached to it. I think that goes, like, also when you're a kid, you just watch the same movies over and over and over again, regardless if it's good or not.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess it's, it sticks with you. We're not all like Scorsese, and our parents brought us to the Red Shoes, and we're like, oh, like my parents brought me to Pirates of the Caribbean, and I'm like, I love this shit. So
now, since you're making an indie film, and I know you love these big movies, as of right now in your life, are you more geared? Do you prefer an indie movie watch, or do you prefer a big movie watch?
Honestly, it really just depends on my mood. I'm both. I love both so much. But I'm in the indie world, so of course I'm watching a lot of indie films and seeing what I can do. But I also like watching the bigger films and going, how can I do that now on my level? And how can I apply the things that I like about that? And it just makes things feel grand. Like it's a grand experience. I just love that. I think it's so cool. Like, I'm dying to see Nosferatu. Like, I can't wait to see that.
I'm dying for it.
Every time the trailer comes, like trailer's on last night, I just cover my face and my ears. I just don't want to know. But it's like a great experience. I'm attracted to it. And I'm working on indie films, but I'm going in it like I don't have a small budget. I just using all the things around me I can grab. Most of the time, like in Blasphemy, there's a shot where we have a guy driving through the downpouring rain. And I'm like, I want to get that. If I can get the rain in there and make it feel realistic, I accomplished something. That's like, it feels so big budget, but I mean, we literally were in my parents' driveway, shaking the car, spraying a hose on it, but it looks real on camera.
You in your little Speedo suit.
Yeah. It was cold, but it worked. And so I think Drew can say this too, Calvin. I got addicted to doing things that felt grander on such a small scale.
What people might say is like adding production value.
Production. That's exactly what it is. Production value. And not having the resources to really do so makes you do it very creatively. And I just love it. And I feel like Blasphemy is all made of that. Drew and me are like, okay, how can we do this big? Like, we had all the money in the world and this is all purposeful, but we got a shitty basement. And we'd find our angle. We find out how to do it and how to make it feel that big, just by studying those movies and just how they were shot, why you feel the way you do when it's shot that way and presented that way. And it just kind of built on itself. So that's what I'd say about that.
So, you know, I remember in shooting Blasphemy that, you know, there are times where you're setting up for the next shot. And I wouldn't say 9 times out of 10 that you're worried about scheduling. Obviously, you're thinking about the next shot after the one that you're setting up for. But there is some time where you have free time. During that quote-unquote free time, what are you usually doing? Are you talking to actors? Are you looking something up? Are you always looking at the schedule? Are you looking at your mood board? Are you listening to music? Like, during those times where time frees up a little bit, you know, you as the director, what are you usually doing during that time?
I would say there's a few answers to that because one, I'm constantly nudging people around. Like, example, I would help Drew with something, or I would help the actor with something that's coming up. Something that I could just do in the time, or I would just straight up grip. But I get yelled at by my AD for that. So, but I like to just help. I want to keep things moving. And if I really need to, most of the time I'm editing in my head and I'm seeing what's cutting together. Yeah. And I mean, on Blasphemy, every day we were like on a right on tight schedule. We only had one day where we like finished perfectly on the dot. I mean, we're always about an hour over. We never too much. And I would say the reason we're so tight, it was because I'm sitting there editing the shots we got and the shots we're about to get in my head. And I can eliminate shots. And a lot of the time I found I combined so many shots into like one. There was one scene, we had like 5 setups. You were on that day. It was in the Koala Lounge. I love
doing that when it works.
The Koala Lounge. You remember that really long handheld shot?
Yep.
I wanted to do that, but with multiple takes. And then I looked at the schedule. Dom's like, no. I'm like, okay, so.
Poor Dom.
I looked at what we needed to convey and why I wanted to do it handheld like that. And so I said, why don't we just treat it like, Drew, you're a Steadicam and just run around? And Drew's like, okay. And so we were starting to plot out the shot, and Drew goes, what if I just pull back? And it is now my favorite shot in the film, probably. I like a lot of the shots, but that entire moment, every time I see people watch it,
it's like click.
They're just like, oh, and I love seeing that because like it was like built in the moment of the stress of the moment, which is every film. And that's because I can edit in my head, and I love that. I think that's probably what I'm doing most of the time. Even when I'm like talking to people, I'm like, how can we do this more efficient?
You're right. Yeah, you're so right. That I'm not going to lie. Most of my time is just like, is this working? Like, can I see it in my head? Like, yes, I just okayed the last 3 shots and we moved on, but is it working? And it's mentally exhausting.
Oh, I crash when I get home. And then after a weekend of shooting, I feel like I ran a marathon. Mm-hmm. It just, your body's just, I'm exhausted. My brain's super exhausted. And I have like a lot of learning disabilities. So on a normal conversation, my brain's overworking. So when I'm doing a leadership position, like directing, and I'm trying my best to make sure everyone's okay, making sure we get done on time, making sure we get what we need so we don't have to come back, it's hard. Like my brain is just dead after. But like, then I can reflect on the day and our footage and what we got and the project and that, and it makes it worth it.
Well, Zach, it has been an absolute pleasure having you here on the Bear Bulb. Is there anything you'd like to say about anything upcoming or anything?
I got a lot in the works, a lot, and I know for a fact that all the experience we just talked about is built into this one for sure. I'm so stoked to show people it, but that's probably not going to be for a year or two, so we'll see. But I'm very excited to talk about that one day.
Well, Zack Krasnansky, it's been an absolute pleasure. Love you, bud.
Oh.